I think it's important to talk about what Juneteenth is. It's celebrating the date of the emancipation of the end of slavery after the Civil War. I think there's been a conscientious effort to make the Civil War not about slavery. I think we separate things. We separate. Now it's a faux pas to even talk about slavery. That didn't exist. Well, I'm here to tell people that if you don't acknowledge where your past is, you'll never have a future. And for a lot of individuals, it may be rough, it may be tough to hear that certain things happened back in the day. But that's the way to keep from having to go through it again. So when we talk about the emancipation of slavery, we have to come to the conclusion that slavery was a thing. It wasn't make-believe, and this isn't some Orwell book where slavery was just an optional thing, despite what singers or rappers or whoever want to say it wasn't optional. I think everybody should be forced to watch the movie Roots in elementary school. You should be forced to watch and learn actually the crime, the genocide of what slavery was. And even as a athlete, to compare certain things to slavery, I think there's a knee-jerk reaction to say if somebody is being railroaded or something, or you talk about a specific situation with an athlete, we like to kin it to slavery. It's not. I think Juneteenth is a holiday that every single company should be observing. Tegna has it off, but I know for a fact there are companies that I've worked for, there are companies that I consistently worked for in the past that don't celebrate it. The 4th of July may be Independence Day, but Juneteenth is our Independence Day, and it should be celebrated.
Real Independence Day.
Real.
For an entire culture, we were talking yesterday, and I never thought about this before until you brought this up. I think it was yesterday, maybe the day before in the gym. We were talking about genealogy and how people now are to Ancestry.com and all of that. And you've been doing that, and it's hard for everybody when you start going back more than 100 years. You can't go back pre-slavery because there's no record of the existence of many of your people, and no records. And not only were records not kept, you said there were real efforts that were going on at the time to make sure that there was no written history.
People take into consideration of which people take their last name personal. Just realize my last name is not my last name. It's somebody else's last name that used to own my family.
That's heavy.
That's understand that, and you take pride in that. You don't want nobody speaking on your name. But you fall into this thing where you do DNA tests and you do anything and you try to do your family tree. My family tree stops in 1820. And about everybody, if you're African American, that's the reality of it. You're never going to get back to, hey, I found the exact lineage. It just doesn't work that way.